This is how I transformed our garage from being an old, cluttered, and unexciting garage into a fresh, clean space that's organized and exciting to be in. And it has plenty of space for all of our gear, room to work out, and space to work on DIY projects. Immediately after we closed on this place, I had decided that I was going to dive right into the garage, just because I knew that once you move in and you fill it full of all of your stuff, it makes it way harder to do any of the garage work. And so I started by working on the floors. The plan was to do an epoxy floor, and I wanted to do a standard kit just from the box store, picked one up at Lowe's, and do it all inside of 24 hours. So I rented a grinder and I grinded the entire floor, and then I used my hand grinder to grind all of the spaces I couldn't get with the big one from the store. Then I took the time to brush, scrub, and blow it all out before I dove into the epoxy project. And for that project, I had to use a couple of the 2.5 car boxes from Lowe's. This is the Rust-Oleum Rock Solid Epoxy Project kit. And I ended up using about a kit and a half. And to do that, I just started by brushing on all of the perimeter and then using the roller that it came with, as well as this really cool extendable painting pole. And I would do it in blocks so that I would be able to throw the little chips that come with the kit, as well as the extras that I bought down, just to add a little bit of texture as well as break up the surface appearance. So I just worked my way through the garage, making sure I was quick enough to not have the stuff set on me, since it only has about a 45-minute pot life. And I cruised all the way through. It was a hot day, but I was able to stay ahead of it, and the kit worked out great. I ended up using 1.5 of the boxes that I bought for our 640 square foot 3-car garage. And so I had a half box left over, which was better than running out. Then after that, I dove into cleaning up the walls. I took down some cabinets that we weren't going to keep, left the ones that we were, and then just went to cleaning and prepping the walls for paint. Did a little spackling, a little sanding. Wasn't trying to make it perfect, but we wanted it to be a little bit better than it was. So I took our fancy little pull again and started cruising on the paint. We chose this green, which we liked on the card, but after it went on and dried, it ended up being way darker than we expected. So we added some white, mixed it around, did another coat, and it turned out a lot better, more of a sage color. And then I dove into the ceiling, put a white paint on the ceiling, and that was that for the painting project. After painting, I cruised out for a quick mountain bike ride, which is one of the reasons we moved to this area. We're super close to trails, and we are so grateful for it. And we're also super pumped to have nice trees in the backyard and a lawn to hang out in. So after a relaxing morning, I dove back into the mess of the garage. I started hanging some cabinets over the tool bench that I had bought off of Facebook a handful of years prior. And I just wanted a nice little workspace that would make the rest of these projects easier as we moved along. One of the things that I wanted out of this garage was for it to be inspiring when you're inside of it. And so that means I wanted to hang up some photos that I had from past houses. And one of them was of a mountain in the Sawtooths that I skied a few years ago. And it was one of the scariest days of my life, to be honest, skiing that couloir. And so now every time I look at it, I'm a little bit proud, a little bit scared. But either way, it inspires me to get back outside. And really, that's what all of these projects are for, is just to help organize our life so that we can facilitate living more adventurously, building things, and just having a good time, like Maru knows how to do every day. Because I like to do things on the cheap, and most of these cabinets are those that either came out of the house or that I've had from the past. They're a little bit mismatched, but that's okay. They'll get the job done, and really, I don't think a garage needs to be a place that you spend a lot of money on, since it's more of a functional space than an aesthetic space. And so I just used what I had, put all those things up, and then in between the two cabinets above the tool bench, I wanted to have a drill hanging spot so that I would just have easy, quick access to my drills and impact drivers, since those are the things that I use the most by far. So I made this little slotted out board and hung a couple of ledgers on the sides of the cabinets and set it up there. And it turned out really good. And I'm pumped because I've already been using it, and it's so nice to just have them sitting there. easily accessible, which has been really nice so far. Then after that, I put this light bar up on the ceiling that has a motion sensor on it, so that when there's times that I don't want to turn on the lights in the garage, like late at night or early in the morning, I can just have these that automatically trigger when I walk past, and are just a much softer light than the main lights that I have for when I'm working on projects and things like that. And I got a cabinet on Facebook that was actually really cheap. It was only like 70 bucks. And instead of putting standard drawer pull handles on it, I drilled holes through each door just for finger holes that also double as vents, since we're currently storing our mountain bike gear in there. And so if it does have a little bit of residual sweat in it, it's not going to be musty in there. There's just a little bit of ventilation to keep things drying. And I got a light kit on Amazon that has a motion sensor, and I put one of the light bars inside of the cabinet, and then it's linked to the light bar outside of the cabinet where the motion sensor is. So as soon as I step out of the garage door, it kicks on the light. That way, if I'm grabbing my gear to go out for an early ride or getting into the chest freezer, we have lights. And I got another set for over the tool bench. And so now I can kind of make my way through the whole garage without turning on the main lights if I don't need them. It'd been about a week since the garage project started, and it was working pretty good, but the set of shelving that was in the house when I bought it, while convenient to have, was just not quite the right size. The bins didn't fit in very well, and it wasn't quite as long as I wanted. So I took it down, sold it, and started building a new one, using some of the suggestions from my awesome neighbors who stop by anytime I'm out working on a project. And for this project, I was just using some rough lumber from Lowe's, just 2x4s, 2x6s, and OSB to try to keep things cheap, though that's a little bit of an oxymoron these days with the price of lumber. And here I am pre-drilling all of my screw holes, since I am coming so far as a carpenter, and years past I probably wouldn't have with some rough project like this, but I want this one to last. So I just did 2x4 framing for the main shelves, and then I sliced some OSB right down the middle into 2-foot wide slices, and then I chopped one of them into 4-foot lengths. That way I had enough for my 12-foot shelves, and I had to scab in a piece from an old project, but fortunately I had a chunk laying around. And I got all of those secured down. Afterwards, I decided to do some ledger boards on the wall to secure it to, just because the span of the studs was a little bit strange, and this would just make it easier. And I really can't take credit for that, actually, because my neighbor gave me the idea. I attached each shelf to the wall using a couple of screws and a handful of nails, since I was running low on screws, and I also wanted to use my new framing nail gun that I really have no business owning, but they're really cool, and I've been wanting one for a long time. I added some 2x6s on the end as the final legs, and then I added 2x4s on the back in between each shelf. And instead of mounting them on the surface, I put them custom sized to flush with the shelves, because I was going to be putting sheathing on this whole side. And to do that, I used my Craig pocket hole jig, which has been a tool that I have used probably more than anything else over the years other than my drills. It's just because it's such a solid way to join wood together, and you don't need any of the fancy tools that people with real wood shops have. So while this project I probably could have gotten away with just toenails, it made me a little more confident that when I put the sheathing on, it would hold nice, strong, and flush. And for the sheathing, I use this thin plywood. It's a new product from Lowe's. It's only like 20 bucks a sheet, so it's cheaper than plywood, and it has this cool bamboo looking veneer on it. And I've been wanting to try it for a while, since I might use it in the van as well. And so far I'm happy with it. So after I got it sheathed, I used the router to trim all of the OSB, and then I put a round over on it as well, so that it didn't splinter when I was sliding bins in and out off of the shelves. Then after that, I needed to remount the bike rack that I've built multiple times now, just to store the bikes vertically and out of the way. And then I started loading up the shelves with all the bins that are still a bit unorganized, and something that I'm going to go through another time to help simplify and hopefully reduce them down. Once I got them sort of sorted around, I added my table that I use for my laptop when I'm on my stationary bike trainer, and it just suspends from a piece of paracord, and then when I'm done not using it, it folds out of the way, so it's not in the way when I'm working on projects in this space. Then I pulled out a new toy that I got. This is an Ego electric lawnmower, and we got it to replace our gas mower because one, I sometimes found myself wanting to mow the lawn at odd hours, whether it's during dinner, early in the morning, whatever, and I wanted something that was quiet. And then also, the storage of a lawnmower is a bit annoying because they just don't get too compact, and I don't have a shed yet, and so they just take up a bit of space, whereas this one, it folds up kind of like a suitcase. And so took it out, did a quick test run. So far, so good. It's just strange to have a mower that is almost silent. It just sounds like a fan more than a mower. And put the battery charging, folded it up, put it in the garage, and then I got to using my bike setup. And this is one of my favorite things to have. It makes fitness so easy. It's an electric trainer that connects to my phone. I just put either of my bikes onto the trainer, load the workout from my phone, and start pedaling away. And then the next morning, made use of the space we have for the gym. This is something we haven't had for years now, and while we don't have much equipment yet, it's totally fine. It's still an awesome way for us to be able to get some fitness in, as well as work on projects with the extra space that we have. And now for the final reveal of the garage, the way it stands today. So that vanity, the toilet, that'll all be gone eventually, but overall it's looking pretty good to me. I'm gonna get rid of a few tools that I just don't feel like I need, and then this big old pile of stuff on the corner, that's for the van build, which will be coming very soon, so stick around for that. And I'm pumped to show you guys that process, as well as this new battery that we just got from EcoFlow. That'll be the power station and the solar power for the van build, as well as a backup at home. It's a monster of a battery, and it's capable of massive output. It's up to 6,000 watts, and it even has 240. And so while it's going to be primarily used for our van on longer trips, it could even charge our or run our refrigerator or our freezer if we do have a power outage. So I'm pumped about this, and the van build will be coming very soon.